Hey guys, I am back for another Bible study. Today we are going to we're going to start at Leviticus chapter 11 actually, because this kind of caught my eye. And the Lord spake to Moses and then to Aaron, saying, Speak to the children of Israel, saying, These are the beasts which you shall eat, and all the beasts that are on the earth. What that means, so a lot of people probably might be aware of this, but there are a lot of people that actually are not. But there are so in Israel, there were unclean foods that you could not eat. Way back in these days, and basically, there's actually a lot of them. Like, okay, so whatsoever part of the hoof and is cloven-footed and cheweth the cud among the beasts, you can eat those. So that's like cow, chicken, lamb, things like that. Nevertheless, you shall not eat those that chew the cud, or of them that divide the hoof as the camel, because he cheweth the cud and divideth not the hoof, that he is unclean to you. So now, obviously, this is all done away with because Paul actually goes into great detail saying food does not defile you. That was all done away with with Christ. All done away with. The reason for the separation of the food is because of the Gentiles and the Hebrews. It's a separation of filthy and clean, basically. Clean and unclean, if you will. But one of the foods that I find very interesting is pig. Obviously, pig means pork, ham, things like that. And in this day and age, we Americans especially, we consume a lot of ham. Like, I mean, I know you've had a hot dog. I know you've had a ham sandwich. I mean, I know y'all have had those. And I love ham. That's one of my favorite foods. But there's a lot of Christians that I'm not going to say condemn, but convict others, saying they should not eat unclean foods because of these verses. And that is simply not true. Because, like I said, Paul clearly did away with those. Like, he preached against those very hard in his book to the Corinthians, saying food does not defile you. Do not make now. If you want to eat, you can eat what you want to eat something. Go ahead, but don't preach your beliefs about food to others, for it could become a stumbling block. That was his main thing, because when you create a stumbling block for other believers, then they lose faith, and when you lose faith, then that's obviously not good. That's sin when you don't have faith in something. So that was what Paul was really trying to get through to his readers, and unfortunately these things still go on today because I have seen it. I've been there, and it's kind of a shame. But anyway, moving on from that, this is basically all about food. So we'll go ahead and move on. This is okay. This is going on about the circumcision. We kind of already went over that, but back in those days, I think it was the firstborn son. If it wanted to see, I thought it was the firstborn should be circumcised. Now, obviously, that's been done away with too, at least for the Gentiles, because what's really, like as said before, what really needs to be circumcised is your heart. That's what needs to be circumcised, because that's the born-again process. That's the set-apart process from one person that's a heathen to another that is born of spirit. Um. Anyway. So yeah, in those days, leprosy was a big thing. That was like you had to literally, like, with COVID, you have to quarantine and all this. That's how leprosy was in those days. Like you were gone. Like you were cast out. You were unclean. You were away from everyone. I mean, it was bad. The priest shall look at him and pronounce him unclean. And this is basically how the skin looks. Like they'll be able to tell based on the skin if they have leprosy or not. But it was bad. Like it was really, like, you think COVID's bad. Leprosy is a million times worse. Yeah, they'd literally be unclean if they had leprosy. I don't know how they got it. I think it might have been because of sin if they had leprosy. And then the Lord allowed it to happen, and then boom, there you go. And that was basically saying, okay, you're unclean, so you've obviously, you got to get out of here. But I don't think. I know that the Lord can heal leprosy. I know He's done it before. Obviously, I don't know if it was done by Him or if He commanded the priest to do it in some way. But I don't think He did. I think it was His will to allow it to be healed and not allowing someone else to do it. Anyway. But I don't want to go over the jab. I guess we'll call it the jab. I'm not going to say anything else because I don't want to get this video taken down. But I'm not going to say you shouldn't get the jab. And the reason I'm even talking about this is because we're talking about a health issue of leprosy in the Bible and how the Lord deals with those health issues. Were there jabs back in those days? No, of course not. I mean, but the Lord took care of His people, okay? Even if they got something like leprosy, He told them, okay, get away from people. You gotta, they're unclean, get out, get away, because they could infect the whole entire group. I mean, seriously, I'm not, and that's the thing about COVID. I'm not saying you shouldn't quarantine if you have it. I'm not saying you shouldn't wear a mask. I know there's a bunch of anti-maskers out there, and I know I'm starting to go off on a tangent, whatever, but I feel like this is the best place to start talking about this. But I feel like you should help protect other people, but this jab is not necessary to be protected from COVID. It's not. The Lord will protect you. Just stay with Him, and you won't get COVID. I mean, I'm not saying you won't get COVID if you seek Him. I'm not saying that. You can still get it, but He will protect you from whatever's going on. You gotta stay rooted in Him rather than rooted in the jab. That's the bottom line. You gotta trust the Lord, because if we start trusting man and their inventions over the Lord, then all that means we're just going to keep going further and further away from the Lord. And that's not good. You got to seek the Lord. You got to trust the Lord. Now, if you get the jab, whatever, I'm not saying you're condemned. I'm not saying that that's that. I mean, I know some people out there think it's the mark of the beast. I'm not going there. I mean, I can certainly see the parallels. I can certainly see why people would think that. But my main thing isn't about the spiritual implications of getting the jab. My main thing is not trusting the Lord. You should trust the Lord with everything you do, including the jab. Now, if He tells you to get it, I mean, you got to get it. Okay, you got to do what He says to do. I don't know why he would, but that's up to him. But for me in my life, it has been very clear that I am not to get the jab. And the verses like that about leprosy are a part of the reason why. He will take care of you. Even if you get COVID or not, he will take care of you. But anyway, and this shall be the law of the leper. Shall I replace leper with COVID? This shall be the law of the leper. In the day of his cleansing, he shall be brought to the priest. The priest shall go forth to the camp, and the priest shall look, and behold, if the plague of leprosy be healed in the leper, then shall the priest command to take for him, that is to be cleansed, 2 birds. So this would be, okay, so that's the sacrifice after they're healed, I guess, to give glory to the Lord. Let's see. And the priest shall command that one of the birds be killed in an earthen vessel over running water. As for the living bird, he shall take it, and the cedar wood, and scarlet, and hyssop, and shall dip them, and the living bird in the oil of the bird that was killed over running water. And he shall sprinkle upon him, that is to be cleansed from leprosy 7 times, and he shall pronounce him clean, and shall let the living bird loose in the open field. So, that is interesting. Law of the leper and David's cleansing. If the priest considers so maybe this is how they heal leprosy. Okay. And then after they do that, they declare him clean. Well, how about that? Of course, now, like I said, that's not necessary with Christ. He's our healer, as long as we have faith. Of course, he doesn't always heal. It's up to his will. Because, like I said, I'm recovering from a broken foot. Did I pray for healing? Absolutely, I did. Did I ask for others to pray for me? You bet I did. But sometimes it's his will for you to go through tribulations like this. You aren't going to be healed from every single ailment you get. But it's just a matter of faith getting through it. But you just got to trust him. You just got to trust him. It may not seem fair that some people get healed and some people don't, but you just got to trust the Lord. He has a reason for everything. And I know why I had to go through this month plus of agony and not being able to walk. And it was because he wanted me to spend more time with him, obviously, which I did a lot of because I had nothing else going on because I couldn't do anything. And number 2 was because, well, actually that was basically, was to trust him. Just trust him to get me through that instead of wanting it to be healed like certain other things. But and I thank him for that. I thank him for teaching me that lesson, and praise the Lord, right? Okay. Yes, all of his clothes are cleansed. And on the 7th day, he shall shave off his head. Wow, look at all the stuff you have to do. Wow. Isn't it amazing how all this is just... I know we went through this last week, but isn't it amazing how Christ just destroyed all of this? All these... Man. Absolutely amazing. Yeah, so this basically declares that the leprosy was caused by sin. No surprise there. Pretty much everything is. Oh, okay. Anyway, so this is just more of the stuff that they have to go through as far as sacrifices. I mean, this is so much. There is so much that they had to go through to cleanse their land Absolutely. Cleanse their bodies and their temple and their land. Absolutely amazing. So, yeah, so here's more of the same, just more issues of uncleanness. So actually, that's interesting right here. So I don't know if this still applies today, but it states that if you touch so this was so in this scripture, it states that if you touch a dead body back in these days, you were considered unclean because the dead body was unclean. Now I know that people touch dead bodies in this day and age because funerals, someone could get shot and die just like that, and you touch them trying to help them, perform CPR or whatever. And I wonder how that applies today, because it doesn't really go into that as far as touching dead bodies. Now, would I ever want to touch a dead body? Obviously not. But sometimes you don't even know if they're dead or not. You just go up to them and, I remember, I've had two mothers in my life. My blood related mother and a stepmother after that, because my dad got remarried, and they both died tragically. Because my mother lived in another place. And my dad actually went to her house because I hadn't heard from her in so long, and we wanted to see if she was okay. He calls me through a police phone and said that she's dead, and he discovered her. I don't know if he touched her or not. I have no idea. But that kind of, I didn't think about that for the longest time, but then I started reading scriptures like, wow, didn't think about that. Then again, about 10 years ago, after we were married, she passes away. We get home from work, and I go into my room, whatever, and my dad goes to his bedroom. I'm still living with him at the time, and he discovers her dead on the bed. And I'm like, and of course we call the police out. They investigate everything, but it's like, I never thought about that because I thought, a dead body, okay. I can see why the Lord would declare unclean, but it kind of makes you think, uh-oh. But I wouldn't be concerned about it if you're caught in that position. If you feel like you've sinned by touching a dead body, just pray to the Lord. Because that would be an accidental sin. You don't mean to do it. You don't even know if they're dead or not, But, yeah. Yeah, that's not something that we should really stress about. But it kind of got me thinking, wow, that's ooh. But anyway, let me see how long this video is right now. I've been rambling, huh? Okay, we still got time. So let's see here. There's a lot of, you can see why, going through all this in Leviticus, why Jesus did away with the law. There was so much. What person could, it's amazing they went through all of these ordinances for as long as they did. They went through these for 1,000 years? Because Adam was, it's assumed that Adam was brought about around 4000 BC, okay? And that means Jesus came to this earth about 4,000 years later. And then, of course, here we are 2,000 years later, plus. So we're probably at, at the time of Moses, we're probably at about, I'll say somewhere in the neighborhood of 2000 BC or so, give or take. And they went 2,000 years doing these ordinances? That's incredible. That's maybe not quite as much for the regular Israelite, but for the priests, wow. That's amazing what they had to go through. But anyway, I think I'm going to end it there. But anyway, I will see you all again tomorrow. All right. God bless y'all.